happening, guys? Welcome along to another episode of the 420 News. Apologies for not being with you there all weekend. I was a little bit under the weather, and the kiddies were too. Ah, but yeah, we're back up and running now. A slight bit of an ear infection, alright, rattling around in this left ear, but that's the last of it. We'll be back to 100% once we shake that off. But what's happening out there, guys? Get the old comments into the hot box. I see the roving reporter out there smoking hash as always. Legend. Oh yes, wouldn't be 420 without a little bit of civil disobedience, and today's civil disobedience comes in blunt form. She was almost stuck in there. So who else is out there in the hot box? Oh, ew. A happy 422 to everybody else out there. And yes, we are just, what is it now? 3 days away now from the election. Jeez, that won't be long rolling around at all. Yes, the 7th, that's when that election is happening. So this coming Friday. For anybody who doesn't know, yes, that guy up there is running as an independent candidate in the Cork City Northeast local elections. I said, sure, why not? Very quiet bunch out there today, but I do forgive you. It is my own fault. Um, an irregular day to be streaming for myself. What day are we at today? Tuesday, is it? Yeah, yeah, Tuesday. So, yeah, not regularly live on a Tuesday, but we said we would get it in there as we didn't get on over the weekend. And we do have an election rolling very close by. And we do have a bit of news that is very relevant, I suppose, given the fact that there's an election coming up. Because within this news, we see a lot of wasted time and resources of Gardaí, unfortunately. So I did think it was important to be coming on here highlighting this news and highlighting to people out there, as to the many reasons why cannabis prohibition is bad for society. Where shall we start today? Where shall we start? Well, I suppose we'll start above in Dublin. Dublin Airport saw two massive seizures, massive, I suppose, by the Gardaí standards. Only five watching it now, it says the roving reporter. Who's counting? Oh yeah, I am up there. Canamon, what's happening? Definitely not low anyway, Canamon. Yes, but as I was saying there, two sizable seizures were made above in Dublin Airport there recently. And these are going to be much more common again, especially from where these came from. Pop this up on screen. Oh, boom. The headline on the Irish Times is: a man thought cannabis was precious birdness after he was arrested for importation at Dublin Airport. So that's a new one. Like that's definitely not one I've heard before. Mistaken cannabis for precious birdness. And precious they must have been, consider the fact that he was being paid to bring him here from Thailand, I believe, the flight arrived from. There was two seizures made over the weekend. This was just one of them. This seizure was 21 kilos of cannabis total in value at €420,000. Way, 420, yay. Uh, but this Malaysian man was arrested after he landed at Dublin Airport with the cannabis, and he claimed he thought he was importing precious birdness. Gives his name here and his age of 35 years of age. Also gives his address, and he also has an accomplice with him who's 45 years of age. Name and address also given as living in Malaysia. And both of them appeared before the Dublin District Court on Monday. Each man was charged with unlawful importation and possession of cannabis in Avenue for sale and supply at Terminal 1 on June 2nd. And Garda Pearce O'Dwyer told Judge Alan Mitchell that Mr. Swee had an interpreter and made no reply to each charge after being taken to Ballymun Garda Station. The defence solicitor Tracy Horan said her client was not applying for bail at this stage, and she added that Mr. Swee wished her to communicate to the Director for Public Prosecutions that he wanted to be sent forward on a signed plea to the Circuit Court to have his case dealt with as soon as possible. So I'd imagine these guys probably want to be dealt with here. I wouldn't imagine they'd want to be getting locked up back in Malaysia. Judge Mitchell said that if the man pleaded guilty as indicated, the accused would have to waive his right to have the substance tested by Forensic Science Ireland, which carried out the evidence analysis for the criminal justice system. He noted the value alleged was 420,000 and the weight was 21 kilos. And Miss Horan said her client was cooperative with and told Gardaí he believed he was bringing precious birdness into the jurisdiction, not the drugs that they were saying. Judge Mitchell deferred ruling on Mr. Swee's trial venue, whether the case should be sent to the Circuit Court, which had a broader sentencing powers, pending the solicitor's correspondence to the DPP. The offence under the Misuse of Drugs Act. The co-defendant had not indicated a plea and did not apply for bail, and the DPP's directions are requiring in his proceedings. So again, in this instance, like we've 420,000 worth of cannabis. Had that actually made its way into Ireland, it was going to be worth a lot less, to be fair. 21 kilos, each kilo is probably going to be sold off, maybe a bulk value, maybe. Let's just say 5 grand. Just say 5 grand, 21 kilos there. So you're talking about, what, 100 grand at most? 100 grand at most, that would have been worth, had it been brought in. The lads were probably getting a chunk of change, 1,000, 2,000 quid there each to act as the couriers to bring it into the country. And then it was worth about 100 grand when it was brought in here. Where it came from, over in Thailand, Malaysia, wherever the lads had actually gathered it up, like they probably bought it for what are you buying over? What would you buy 20 kilos over in Thailand for bulk? Let's just say 20 kilos bulk over in Thailand. Like, are you gonna pay what, about 100 quid, maybe a couple of 100 quid per kilo? Would you? Would you? I don't know. Yeah, I reckon you probably would have picked up that 20 kilos worth of cannabis for 20 grand. Let's just say you gave him 1,000 quid for each kilo. 20 grand, Crazy. So until we get our act together here in Ireland, we're going to continue to see people taking these, risks. To import bird nests because of the conversion, the turnaround on it. They're going to make a killing if they actually manage to make it into the country with it. That wasn't the only seizure that was made there on Sunday. There was another seizure made there as well on Sunday. Another 22 kilos worth of cannabis. So in total, 43 kilos worth of cannabis was seized above in Dublin Airport over the weekend. Total value, they say, €862,000. Again, the men here getting a small little chunk of change. If they have been caught with it, if they're to be imprisoned, we're looking at paying about 80,000 per year for each of these prisoners. That's what the average cost per prisoner per year here is in Ireland. Is that really justified? I say not. So that's just coming out of Dublin over the weekend. 43 kilos worth of cannabis. Four men going to trial. All of the men are foreign nationals, varying ages, 30s, 40s, 50s. But again, I'd imagine they're not happy that they got caught, but they're happier that they got caught here than over on the other side. And we're going to continue to see a lot more of that until we get our act together and end the prohibition of cannabis and allow for a regulated trail of retail of cannabis. Canaman says, heard about the live stream that was cancelled from New York City to Dublin. So none of y'all heard or read about the New York Dublin portal temporarily paused after lewd antics. Yeah, we did, Canaman. Yeah, we did. We were talking about actually maybe trying to launch another one from Cork. Get a bit of a smoke sesh happening here between us here in Cork and a couple of them over in New York. Keep the civil disobedience going here anyway. Sorry, just reading some of Canaman's comments here. I wonder if people talking in front of the portal was considered lewd. And our boorish behaviour, even though it's legal in New York City to smoke on public sidewalks. Yeah, that's it. I was surprised that there wasn't a bit more public display of cannabis there from the New York side. Maybe there was, and we just didn't hear about it or see anything about it. And we just kind of heard and seen about people flashing and all of the other kind of drunkenness that was going on in front of it. You know. Big shout out there as well to Barry Fields, legend, for helping out there with the canvassing over the week, during the weekend. Definitely made a big impact there anyway. And yeah, I have to get more flyers printed actually as well. We will get that done. And a reason why we'll continue to see more headlines like what we were just covered there a second ago is more places around the world continue to decriminalise and legalise cannabis. I think we might have touched on this there last week, but South Africa has decriminalised cannabis ahead of a major election over there, or a historic election over there, says this headline. This is up on the businessofcannabis.com, and it's an article there by Ben Stevens. It says, on the eve of a historic election, the incumbent South African President Cyril Ramaphosa officially signed a long-awaited cannabis decriminalisation bill into law, making it the first South African country to do so. The passage of South Africa's Cannabis for Private Purpose Act, CFPPA, has been hailed as a major step forward in cannabis liberalisation in the region, seeing cannabis removed from the country's Drug and Trafficking Act. Having sat on the rollout of such legislation for nearly 6 years, some have questioned the motives behind the sudden forward momentum, given that the ruling African National Congress has looked uncertain to win the election for the first time in 3 decades. It says, regardless of the politics behind the move, the reform has seen South Africa solidify its position as a cannabis pioneer on the continent. So there you go. Look, it's just another place where we're going to continue to see more people now smuggle cannabis out of and into places where prohibition continues to thrive. Like places like Ireland, because in South Africa, again, much like Thailand that we mentioned there earlier, a person will be able to go over there, get a bulk load of cannabis for fucking pennies and bring it over here to Ireland and 100 times, multiply the value of it easily. And places like South Africa as well, what would you say, the average income down there is probably not going to be very high. So the temptation for people to take the risk to bring cannabis out of there is going to be quite high, pardon the pun. Hey. But it says there what happened. The government has now finalised legislation and signed into law regulations that have been promised since 2018. And in 2018, South Africa became the second African state to legalise medical cannabis and industrial hemp cultivation. And later that year, the country's constitutional court ruled that the prohibition and criminalisation of cannabis were inconsistent with Section 14 of the Constitution. Well, hey, fair play, South Africa. As such, the court ruled that adults should be allowed to privately consume and cultivate cannabis, and the government was given 2 years to construct a regulatory framework. However, the bill soon got bogged down in legislative limbo, with numerous drafts of the bill rejected by opponents of the bill, like the Daga Party, leading to years of delays. It wasn't until 2020 that a bill to regulate cannabis decriminalisation was introduced, following a commitment from the government to make the cannabis sector a priority due to its economic potential. Over the next few years, a cannabis master plan was established, following the establishment of an interdepartmental committee to guide the project in 2019. And in 2021, a draft of the cannabis master plan, which took experiences from other countries like Canada into account, was finally completed and ready for consultation. The draft suggested that the launch of a formal cannabis industry would provide a major boost to the country's economy, and with the illicit cannabis market already thought to be worth around 28 billion, so that's 1.1 billion pound, and could create around 130,000 new jobs. That's insane. Despite numerous statements of intent from Ramaphosa to bring South Africa into the global cannabis industry, it was not until last week that the bill was officially enforced. So again, fair play to South Africa. What does the bill allow? Prior to the passage of this bill, cannabis remained in the DTTA, which stated that no persons shall use or have in their possession any dangerous dependence-producing substance, which included all cannabis products except dronabinol. Now that cannabis has officially been removed from that list, private adult use of cannabis and its derivatives is no longer considered a criminal activity. However, if the cannabis is used for pharmacological or medical purposes, it remains regulated as a Schedule 6 drug alongside heroin. Anyone 18 or over now can possess up to 100 grams of dried cannabis flower in a public place and up to 600 grams of dried flower per person in a private place. Consumption of cannabis in any private location that doesn't pose a risk to others is also now legal, but its sale remains illegal, and there are not yet any plans to regulate an adult use commercial market. South Africans will be allowed to grow up to 4 flowering plants per person, with a limit of 8 per household, and the gifting of up to 30 seeds or seedlings and 1 flowering or plant or 100 grams of dried cannabis flower will now be allowed. Exceeding these limits will still carry a criminal penalty, and users must ensure cannabis remains inaccessible to children. And according to the government, the Act will also facilitate targeted reforms and regulatory frameworks such as the Plant Breeders' Rights Act and the Plant Improvement Act, while providing an alternative manner by which to address the prohibited use or possession of dealing in cannabis by children. So yeah, there's still a lot of room for people to be criminalised over there. But the fact that the sale of cannabis is not allowed over there, though, that's then gonna bring a lot of temptation. If there's any tourists down around, like in South Africa, people are going to be wanting to be, selling a little bit, getting their hands on a bit of cannabis, and just going to be people wanting to sell that cannabis to them. So again, as I said, the temptation for people to engage in that kind of activity is going to be quite high, unfortunately. So it will result in people still being criminalised. But look, hopefully, the cops will know better. Researcher Rick Simpson says, hit the like button there, guys. But it's crazy to think, that South Africa has like decriminalised cannabis before, like the likes of Ireland. And it's even more crazy to think that the High Court, or was it what court was it there that they mentioned, seeing that the criminalisation of people for personal use of cannabis was inconsistent with um, their constitutional law. There we go. Later that year, the country's constitutional court ruled that the prohibition and criminalisation of cannabis were inconsistent with Section 14 of the Constitution. I definitely believe that the Misuse of Drugs Act here in Ireland is inconsistent with our constitution, especially when it comes to the use of cannabis. I just believe it's not been successfully challenged yet in court by anybody. And I don't think I'll be the first to do it either. Gonna try though. Oh, yes. We will drive on then, because we come back to Ireland. Where in Ireland, the guards they raided a man's apartment after they seen him growing some cannabis on his window. This was a headline here in the Irish Examiner. Man caught growing cannabis in the window of his Cork apartment, made tea with it, a court was told. Excuse me. This is a case here in Cork of a 47-year-old man. His name and address given here. I'm not going to read it out, but it is up there online for everybody to find. All because he was found growing some cannabis for his own personal use. The man was using the cannabis to self-medicate, and he was making tea with it. He wasn't actually even smoking the cannabis, as if that really makes a difference, really. Although some people do tend to believe it does. Says here a man caught growing cannabis with a potential street value of €2,400, together with €1,500 worth of dried cannabis, claimed that he was using the material to make cannabis tea to help him sleep. The man, who was named in the article, as I said, lives in an apartment on a road here in Cork, and the detection was made of his cannabis growing relatively easy. It was made relatively easy for the Gardaí because the plants were setting on the window of his apartment overlooking the road he lived on. The solicitor for the defendant did not said the defendant did not smoke cannabis and instead used it to make tea to help him sleep. He stressed that the Cork District Court that while the 47-year-old admitted cultivation of cannabis with the potential value of €2,400 and possession of cannabis herb, with the amount being valued at €1,580, there was no question of him supplying it to anyone at all. It was all for his own, in his possession for his own use, and the state accepted this. Sergeant John Kelleher said the evidence in the case was that on the 15th of August, Sergeant Vincent McCarthy carried out the search and seized 3 cannabis plants, each valued at €800, and €1,500 worth of dried cannabis herb and amphetamine, with a street value also of €10, and magic mushrooms with a street value of €10. Mr. Collins said that it was somewhat unusual case, and Sergeant McCarthy executed a search warrant. He called to the house after observing the cannabis plants grown in the window of the property, and that they were surprised at the value put on them by the prosecution. Sergeant Kelleher said that the valuation of €800 for each plant was based on the anticipated street value of the plants at full maturity. And again, I would even argue here that they're wrong. Like, cause like the plants could have came in at way under that, or they actually could have came in at way over that too. I think it's funny that the state will value €800 per plant regardless of the maturity of it. They're just going to estimate that value on the plant reaching full maturity. But as I say, like depending on the ability of the growers, that plant could end up actually being worth a lot less or a hell of a lot more. Shout out to one person in the hot box there whose slurricane came in. What did he say? Was it £6 or something like that? Got an incredible harvest there off of one plant. Um, you know. But anyhow, the solicitor said he made tea with the cannabis, and he said that he said he makes that out of it and that it helps him sleep. He does not smoke the cannabis. He grew up in the countryside and had an interest in growing vegetables. He had the tree plants and significantly over €1,000 worth of it, and he expects the court to believe he was drinking the tea to go to sleep. Mr. Collins said it is unusual, and the judge added, "I'm glad you say that. I find the explanation unusual." Mr. Collins said that he lives alone. He plays Irish music, and Judge Dorgan said that he should stick to the music now. But to be fair, like, if the cannabis was helping him sleep, like, is that not actually helping him stick to the music then? Because if he's getting a better night's sleep, then isn't he going to be better, well rested next day to get up and actually engage with his daily tasks, such as his music and stuff? Judge Dorgan, should really get off your high horse here and stop being so judgmental and maybe actually do a little bit of research there on the benefits of cannabis and especially the use of cannabis there by musicians. It's quite a common thing for musicians to actually enjoy the use of cannabis. Judge Dorgan added, "I'm going to direct the probation report, and he is at serious risk. Serious risk." Judge Dorgan adjourned the case until July 24th for sentencing. So it's printing a probation report here, and there's a potential that the judge could see fit to actually send this man to jail. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Lee man says no, he's on a high horse, and so are you on a high horse. That's high. Um, So yeah, there you go. That's another case coming out of Cork here. Another incredible waste of Gardaí time. They seen three cannabis plants up on a windowsill, and they saw fit to actually go and get a search warrant and to search that house. Like, come on. What were they really expecting to find? Like that, they found three cannabis plants. They found some dried cannabis that they valued at €1,000, and I can guarantee you it was just a bunch of leaves. It was a bunch of leaves, a bunch of dried flower, probably not even fully mature, maybe, that the guy had picked maybe prematurely to make some tea out of, because it sounds like the guy was making some hemp leaf tea. Excuse me. Hemp leaf tea is basically you just boil some water over some hemp leaves. You extract whatever kind of water soluble compounds are there within the hemp leaves, maybe a couple of some vitamins, some minerals, and stuff like that. Um, but it's no way going to get you high. You might be able to get some water soluble, like some barely water soluble cannabinoids that might be able to come out because of the boiled water. But to be fair, like unless you're boiling it with some milk or something, you know, you need that fat there to get those cannabinoids out to really help you sleep. So I would argue maybe that cannabis was far from worth €1,000, but because they're going to put a €20 per gram valuation on that cannabis, there you go. A bunch of leaves is now worth €1,000 or €1,500. And €10 worth of magic mushrooms. Come on, like, leave the guys alone. Like, come on. In fairness, what a waste of time. Um, we have another case here where a man had to appear in court after 22 kilos worth of, or €22,000 worth of cannabis was seized above in Dublin. This was the Balbriggan Drugs Unit above there in Dublin. After the long weekend, this man had to appear in court on Monday, I believe. Yeah, a man appeared in court in Dublin over the bank holiday weekend after the large cannabis seizure on Friday. Gardaí in Balbriggan seized suspected cannabis worth €22,240 and arrested the man on the May 31st. The search operation was carried out by the Balbriggan Drugs District Drugs Unit in a targeted operation, and over 1.1 kilos of suspected cannabis herb was initially seized along with the other drug paraphernalia. So again, 1 kilo, like that's a 20 grand. 1 kilo. The Gardaí sent the drugs to be analysed by the Forensic Science Ireland, and the man was arrested. The man arrested in connection with the seizure has since been charged and has appeared before the courts, and investigations into the seizure and the arrest are continuing. The Gardaí added. So there you go again. More wasted time by the Gardaí above there in Dublin, all because of cannabis. Like, who's benefited, to be fair, out of this? They've not benefited taxpayers in any way, shape, or form, really. That cannabis was going to pose no real risk to society. The only real risk maybe there for it was the empowering of organised crime gangs, and maybe they might have used that money for fucking human trafficking or something like that. Like on the other side of it, like potentially. But realistically, little to no harm being done at all by any of that cannabis. And in fact, a lot more harm being done by the guards. Like in that one case there, that musician there in Cork having his apartment raided. Do you know that guy? I can thought nothing of it. I thought he would get away with throwing a few plants up in the windowsill. Naively so, like, but again, like it just shows the real danger there. Come on, what other crime could you really do right in front of your window? Would you really do right in front of your window that you would feel comfortable doing right in front of your window? uh, Silly. Yeah, so that's pretty much all of the 420 news that we have there for today. We do have one other headline that we wanted to touch off of, though. Murder, drugs, and hotel AK-47 rampages. The real-life Irish gang war that inspired the Netflix show. This is about the TV show Kin. It aired first on Irish TV, but it's after making its way onto Netflix there recently, and it's seems to be after taking off there. And basically what it does, it's portraying the a retelling, I suppose. A fictional is a fiction. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, it's based on, but it's fictional. Yeah, they call them Kinsella, but it's the Kinahans, like, it's inspired by the Kinahans and the Hutches and all of that. So it's a retelling of all of that. Again, what we see here in this is the harms being done by prohibition, not drugs. It's prohibition. So if anybody goes and watches that, what you're basically going to see is prohibition in full effect. How prohibition works and prohibition benefits those and who it benefits in society, such as these crime families, the Kinnans, the Hutches, and those alike. So we won't delve into that one. It's yeah, Lee Man keeping the hot box busy. Go on, Lee Man. See Patrick Shields after happening there as well. What's happening, Patrick Shields? So I'm actually have a little bit of news there for you as well. I'll be back up in court on June 17th. Got a court summons there recently for a protest that was held on February 2022. So when was that? Over 2 years ago now. Got a summons for that there the other day, so I'll be up in court on the 17th of June for that. They've incorrectly as well charged me with possession of cannabis resin. I don't believe I had cannabis resin, but I'm not going to challenge them on that. I could challenge them on that and get them to produce the evidence, and they don't have it, and then win. But again, I'm going to be going in on a violation of my constitutional rights, exercising my rights basically. So that's up on the 17th of June, and the next one after that then as well is in September. So a couple of big dates coming up here this month. June 7th, Election Day. Boom. Yeah, vote Martin Connon number one. June 17th, then court date. That'd be mad. Imagine if I was to be elected and then having to go to court as an elected councillor. Stranger things have happened. And then September for the big one, which will be the appeal, or the hearing, actually, sorry, the hearing of the 6 charges of cultivation. So that'll be a big enough one there in September. So that's some of my own news there just to share with you. Martin Trump. That's gas. Is it the hat, is it? Martin's World hat equals MAGA hat. Nice and Patrick Shields by sound. What's happening, Daily Talker? MIGA. Make Ireland great again. Ah, yes. We'll do that one for the general election, will we? We'll get some MIGA t-shirts. To be fair, it would be a part of my campaign, Make Ireland Great Again, you know. Unfortunately, I have seen my sister and my nieces and nephews having to leave Ireland. They're living over in Australia now, along with many other Irish immigrants, you know. And it would be great to make Ireland great again and making an attractive thing for people who once emigrated to return here, along with their kids that they've had since they were away. But yeah, make Ireland great again. I'm definitely not one of these lunatics with the hashtag Ireland is full anyway. No. Ireland's far from fucking full. We once fucking housed, was it like 8 million people or something like that there once upon a time? Before the big famine. Ireland's far from full. Make Ireland great again and bring home all those who once left. Yeah, Bogwan. There you go. Bogwan actually soon to emigrate. And is it just because of the laws, yeah? You're saying here, like myself, soon have to leave because of this unjust law. Um, Obviously, you're heading to Germany. So is it the law? Is that the main thing that's making you emigrate, or was there a job offer, or like is it just the law? I prefer the Martin's World hat anyway. I don't think I'll be changing the Martin's World hat to a Miga hat. No, I'll wear a Miga jumper. All right though. Daily Talker saying, keep us posted, Martin. Hopefully you win and they legalise, and that's the end of the whole prohibition thing. Yeah, like I said, I genuinely don't want to be a politician. If I was to get elected, there would be one main thing I would want to be get done, and once I get that done, I'd be happily retired and afterwards. But yes, if I do actually happen to get elected, I might as well have a bit of an election manifesto there. So I've taken on board a couple of other things there as well. As I said, as it says there, for those who feel unheard, I don't want to let anybody else feel unrepresented. And I am fully aware at the local level as well. Like there's not a whole lot you can be doing for cannabis legalization there. There's not zero you can be doing, but unfortunately not a whole lot. It's the national stage, the general election. But I don't know actually. Even just considering it now, come general election time, like if there's somebody in my local area that I can get behind who would be like who would be willing to actually give cannabis legalization a fair shake at the national level, and I was able to trust them that they would. I would support somebody else. I would stand behind somebody else and push them for a number one, because as I say, I don't want to be a politician. I hate having to fucking do that stuff and run and be in an election, and I hate even having to be doing a podcast. To be fair, like it's no easy thing to come on here, to put yourself in front of a camera, put yourself out there to the world, to be engaged in the protests as I did. I wish I didn't have to do any of that, as I'm sure many of you can understand. But we will continue to engage in civil disobedience until the law is changed. And don't get me wrong, actually, while I say I don't like being on here, I don't like the like having to be behind the camera and stuff, but I enjoy the banter with yourselves. And to be fair, I've enjoyed the overall experience. Like it's not been the worst. But yeah, it's not been an easy thing to do. It's been challenging. It's been uncomfortable, I suppose, at times. Bhagwan says, yeah, basically have symptoms that need to be treated, and I can grow with my own plants and have my own medicines without wondering what's in it will be my own. Yeah, that's fair enough, man. That's fair enough. It's unfortunate you can't have that power here. Parker Shield says, WF out, clowns out. It's Stein, good stuff. You smarting the good stuff, it's Stein, yeah? Me, I got some street haze, some Spanish import. Don't know the exact strain, to be fair. But it's fairly nice. Much like Bogwan, I would love to be able to be in a situation where I know exactly what this is. I would love to be able to know who grew this. I'd love to know what strength this is. You know, so many questions there. I would love to know. But unfortunately, all I know is how much it was and a rough idea of where I came from. Yeah, it's staying on some random haze myself. It's nice, but I'd like to be able to name it a. Yeah, same man. I'm unfortunately. I was about to say I'm glad I'm not alone, but yeah, I wish I was alone in that situation. Actually, um, I wish there was more people out there enjoying their own. To be fair, it's nice to see over on the Martins World Hotbox. Link in the description for anybody who's not after joining. It's nice to see more people actually empowering themselves and putting some seeds into the ground and stepping away from the black market. Uh, a lot of them are quite happy with it, and no one's expressed any regrets in doing so. Anyway. Yep, yep, yep. What's happening? Says best of luck in the election, but the cap you have on is that the color that's on the website? Looks black on the site pics. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's black. That's a black cap, and that's the one that's on the website. What's happening, my dog? Welcome to the hot box, my man. We'll be signing off there now shortly. Civil disobedience just coming to an end, and along with it, the stream. Hitting 5 past 5 there now. We're going to go do a bit of orienteering there now, actually, for the rest of the evening. And the orienteering is on out in Ballincollig Regional Park for anybody in the area. You can just rock up, and I think it's a fiver to take part in the orienteering. Um, and I don't know, is it like 250 or something like that to rent the SI card they use for scanning? Well worth it. Great crack. The kids love it. My dog's smoking on some lightning dust from Nerds Genetics at the moment. Nice. Sounds nice anyway, at least. Is Nerd Genetics supplier or are they breeders? And if they're breeders, so is that something you've procured yourself, yeah? Wow, that's tasty. Simon Martin says, has anybody had any success growing autoflower varieties outdoor in Ireland? One of the guys actually over on the hotbox at the moment, a friend of his, he's been sharing photos of a friend of his outdoor grow, and it's an autoflower, and he's it's doing very well for him. So yeah, there's people having success with autoflower varieties out there outdoors in Ireland. The guy in the hot box, his buddy, he swears by Anesia seeds. He reckons their seeds are hardy out, and their autoflowers are really good for outdoors in Ireland. Um, eh, but in reality, looking at it now, you're in June, just the start of June, first week of June. Yeah, you might get away with something all right, like depending on how good the weather is over the next 2 to 3 months. But yeah, you'd be looking at harvest what June, July, end of August, start of September. Yeah, you might get away with it if you put some seeds in the ground now. Roving Reporter says, do you use orienteering maps? Yeah, we do indeed, man. We go to a new location every week. It's a summer league we're taking part in at the moment. Me and the kids do it every week on a Tuesday. And yeah, we get a map at the location that we arrive at, and the kids do the short course. I do the long course. The long course is about 4.5 kilometers, 17 controls. But yeah, we use the Orienteer maps. Getting better at it. I sent us completely off the wrong way there. Was it 2 weeks ago? Cost us like 20 minutes. Sausage. That happens. Um, Chilbert UK says, is anybody else not seeing the like button? Huh? On Chilbert, bye. Loving what I'm seeing over there on the Insta as well, Chilbert, man. Great work, dude. Top work. Bogwanson says, will you make it to any other events this year? Yeah, I definitely have intentions on making it to some other events this year, but nothing is set in stone as of yet. But as soon as I get something booked, I will definitely be giving a heads up to everyone in the hot box, including yourself, Bogwan. Not a bother at all, Chilbert. And Roving Reporter giving a big hi there to you as well. Mad Dog says, are you going to smoke in Parliament? Well, if I get elected on this occasion, I will be in the local council, so I'll be going into the city hall. So it'll be the council chambers. Obviously, I wouldn't smoke indoors. Wouldn't want to be in violation of smoking laws and all of that kind of crack. But would I be in possession in the council chambers? That most likely I would be. Civil disobedience is civil disobedience, you know, so. And look, if I get elected, I'll be getting elected because of my drug policy reform election manifesto, primarily, not because of any other commitments I'm making. At least I've not made any other real serious commitments there. Although I do acknowledge our mental health services here in Ireland do need a serious reform. No way. What the hell? Chilbert saying that the like button is actually not there on my YouTube video. That's mad. Like I know they demonetized me and all of that stuff, but have they now like de-likeified me? That's gas. Cunts. Just having a look over there now. Aaron Geasley says would be handy if we could vote for you on the south side. Nice on Aaron, man. Appreciate the support anyhow, dude. Do just spread the word. You know, the more support I can get and just spreading the name around, getting the name out there, letting people know what I'm running for, the better. I'm not doing any of the posters up in the polls and any of that stuff. I'm not going to be over bombarding people with flyers either. Basically going to hand deliver as many flyers as I can, with the assistance there of the likes of shout out to Barry and anybody else who comes forward. But as I say, don't want to be don't want to be bombarding people with flyers and stuff like that. I would rather get out there and just kind of interact more with people and try to meet as many people as possible, you know. So that's the aim. Yeah, the guys definitely the like button's getting smashed there by other people anyway. Bogwan saying there's 18 likes here so far, so keep it going, folks. Legends, legends. 3 grand per vote. I know I can't be making those kind of promises. I can only make promises I can keep. Oh, jeez. Last time I got 291 first preference votes. Like, That's a lot of weed to be given away. What is it? Luke Ming sent them all joints. Yeah, we did that as well. We sent over 200 joints out there in the post. Myself and a couple of others. We sent a number of them there. Remember, and was it the 5th of November, or was it the 4th of November actually? What's that thing again? Remember the 5th of November? Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Nice one for all the likes, anyway, guys. Nice one for all the shares. Barry Field saying that Polytunnel Auto is 100%. Yeah, that's true actually as well. Can't bet the polytunnels definitely help boost any plant along. All right, as I said, I better start loving you and leaving you and get ready for orienteering. It's been a pleasure, guys, being on here with you again. Much appreciated. Everybody out there, help spreading the word, letting people know that this guy is running in the upcoming local election here in Cork City Northeast. A nice one, everybody, for hitting that like button and sharing the stream today, and for leaving your comments and all of that fun stuff as well. You're all legends. Stay blazed out there, guys. Keep her lit. Look forward to being back on here with you again during the weekend. The vote will be Friday, so the count will be Saturday. I can go to the centre myself on Saturday. We might go down there for a bit of a nose, maybe do a little bit of a live stream from the count centre. So we'll see then. Yeah. So stay safe, guys. Bye bye. Nice one, Patrick, Roving Reporter, Bogwan, Mad Dog, Barry, Simon, legends. Sammy Martin says, Martin, are those fellas the two Norries by your way? Yeah, they're actually only up the road. Not fair at all. Right, catch you later, guys.